What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Raw on Netflix podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valera. On today's episode, we are going to be breaking down episode 7, the most recent episode of WWE Raw on Netflix. We had our final Elimination Chamber qualifying match happen last night, and a lot of other things unfolded. As always, I'm joined by my podcast partner here, Mr. Dom Fisher. How are you, man?
Finally, Ricky and Dom are back on the podcast. Man, I'm good. Raw was fun. Now we just preparing for this second wave of winter and shit. Hopefully I'll be able to be in the house.
Yeah, it's definitely to be prepared for. You know what I mean? Nashville, we don't take their weather kindly. They already canceled school. We didn't even have any snow, and they've already canceled school. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You know what I mean? But yeah, we're back here. Kind of weird watching it at the crib this week after experiencing it live in person. But yeah, it was it was an interesting episode to say the least. You know what I mean? I'm kind of I think to the point now where I really want to get to the WrestleMania because I want to get through some of this stuff or even Elimination Chamber, because after Elimination Chamber, things will kind of shape up and ship into kind of what we're expecting matches to be. We start building up for those WrestleMania moments and stuff. So I'm kind of ready to be on that just because some of this stuff is kind of boring. But before we dive in, guys, thank you guys so much for continued support here. We know we're new to the wrestling world, but we'd greatly appreciate it if you stick around, subscribe on the podcast platforms, or if you're here on the YouTube channel. There's so many other great shows on the network, including Dom and I hosting our weekly Popcorn People podcast, which is breaking down movies and TVs. But this week's episode, we got WWE Raw on Netflix, episode 7. We had the main event, which was the Elimination Chamber qualifying match, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins. Of course, we'll get into that a little bit later. But we did open the show with the Sami Zayn promo where he calls out Kevin Owens and challenges him to an Elimination Chamber match. And, of course, instead of Owens, this brought out Adam Pearce. Zayn came out. He wants a match. He said it would have to be, they could have a match, but it would be a non-sanctioned match. But yeah, this was Dom. I'll let you start off, man. What did you think of this entire thing?
I think first off, the funny thing to me is, my wife will kind of she'll dabble a little bit as I'm watching the episode, and the first thing she said when she saw Sami was, "Oh, he looks like a nice guy." And I said, "You know what? They did a good job because he's a babyface," and she was like, "He looks like a nice guy," and I was like, "Yo, he is. Everybody likes him. He's scrappy as shit." But for weeks I've been saying they are slowly inching towards a new attitude era, and with this non-sanctioned match, and Pierce is saying I can't stop him from folding a chair around your head, from dropping on your head repeatedly, and then Sami's like, "Well, you can't stop me from doing that to him." This is going to be like the old school, hardcore matches, I think. It's going to turn into an ugly, bloody mess. And we know that both of these guys are tough as shit. They've taken hella falls. Even in some of the clips they show, you see Sami's been dropped on his neck. He's been thrown, and Kevin's been busted open. So this has the makings to be like a match of the year type of situation. Especially because of the history of these guys and the fact that you're kind of letting this whole no holds barred type of match take place. I'm curious to see how it's going to turn out, and hopefully that both these guys are healthy enough to fully go that route, because the past couple weeks they both Kevin got dropped on his head, and Sami's been out for a little bit, healing. So it should be good. I'm excited for it because it's you can't even if Kevin Owens is trying to turn heel, you still like him. Sami, super likable guy, but they're both gonna bring it. So it should be good.
Yeah, I don't mind it, right? I definitely don't mind it. I think my only problem is we've been down this road so much. You know what I mean? Like that's my only issue with this kind of situation is like we've seen this match 5,000 times. And that to me is where it's like, all right, guys, I kind of get it. You know what I mean? We've been down this road, we've been down that path, we understand what's happening, and it just keeps going on and on. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. I thought Sami Zayn was fine here. The unsanctioned match, I agree with you. It's bringing back some pizzazz, you know what I mean, when it comes down to things. But moving right along to the next segment, a match that was built while we were in Nashville. AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio. We kind of saw that coming. Mysterio, Dom there keeps on trying to say that they need a new member of the Judgment Day, but Finn Balor says, hey, I'm gonna win. Raquel's gonna win. You're gonna win. We're gonna have an undefeated night, and the night kicks off on the opposite end of the night with Styles Clash to Dominic Mysterio, and then we got a win by AJ Styles. I thought the match was okay. I thought the match was okay. I didn't mind it. It served its purpose. Dom is always going to be the guy that gets his ass whooped, probably loses a match. I do love he never really loses like clean. He just loses because shit backfires in his face. Another notch in the Judgment Day scenario, but of course this leads to what was also kind of set up in Nashville just by the walk by of AJ Styles and Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker comes out, I guess, mad because he looked at him the wrong way in the hallway, you know what I mean? And goes to spear AJ Styles. Instead, Styles moves out of the way. He spears Dom instead. And obviously, hey, AJ gets a few shots in on Braun. Braun then, gets to the outside, takes his shirt completely off, throws it at AJ, and AJ catches it real fast. I thought that was pretty sick. But Dom, your thoughts on the match, and then, of course, the setup of what we talked about already last week of the Styles versus Breaker match, probably going to be for the Intercontinental Championship at Elimination Chamber more than likely.
Yeah. First off, I'm gonna need them to put some respect on Dom's name. Damn it. Yeah. No, I thought the match was okay. I feel like because Dom, I feel like he doesn't have as many matches as he should. He looked a little rusty at the beginning. But eventually they both got in that rhythm. First off, AJ is fucking jacked. It looks fucking nuts, man. He looks legit like an action figure. I don't know what he's been doing or what he might be on, but that dude's fucking it's ridiculous looking. But I thought, that it had a lot of potential to be something that could later become a bigger thing. But yeah, Braun is just, first off, what kind of self-tanner is this dude using? He was out here 5 shades darker than he was last week. But you know what? Seeing him next to both AJ and Dom, you see how big he actually is. Because I feel like he's always moving around so much and always kind of in a squatted position. You never really kind of see his stature, and he's a big-ass dude. I don't know why they're kind of making this rivalry. Like, we saw that it was building, and it was kind of like, and maybe just, I think, at this point, Braun is just like, I have to make enemies of somebody. And what I think he needs is a partner. I don't think he is solo material yet. And solo with that Intercontinental belt, yeah, but as in general, no, I think he I don't know, there's something missing. And what was so cool about his pops was having Scott with them. Like the Steiner brother, it was such a cool ass thing. And they're, as much as they were a tag team, they're still individuals. And I feel like, I don't know who could be that guy for him, but he needs that, bring that energy back. So yeah, I don't know if this is gonna be one of those things that they kind of do with like Gunther and Jay, or if it's just a one-off type of thing. Because I do think that since AJ's back, they're gonna try to get him a title. and Intercontinental would be the one that you go for initially. So yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. They have to admit it's a little weird, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you. I've been on record here about Braun Breaker, several different times on the podcast. I'm not a fan. And the one thing about it is, you're right. Like, there had to be like established, because like Scott Steiner didn't become better on the mic until later in his career, when he, the big bad booty daddy, you know what I mean? And all those awesome promos he used to cut in WCW that would not fly now at all. But to me, you're right. He should have been in a tag team, because like, this is the guy that you would probably like ideally put with like a Paul Heyman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he would be perfect to kind of reel him in. Obviously, he's wrapped up in the ever-ending fucking tribal chief bullshit for the rest of our existence. God, dude, that whole fucking, I'm over the whole fucking family. You know what I mean? But to me, like, he's not that guy, because he can't talk. He's not a good promo guy. He's just like walking around mad. And you're right. It's like, oh, you looked at me the wrong way, so I'm going to come out and speak. And it's like, that's how we're setting up a title match. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that element of this. This is going to be a true test of, like, AJ Styles is a phenomenal wrestler, right? He's a great wrestler. He's been wrestling for over 20 years. He's very good at what he does. He's had some phenomenal matches. I keep saying phenomenal, which is very cheesy, and I'm not trying to, I promise you guys, but he's had some great matches in his career. So this is going to be interesting to see what kind of match he's, capable of pulling out of Braun. You know what I mean? Like, how good are you, AJ? You know what I mean? Because, he's going to have to, if he's going to continue to be Intercontinental Champion, he's going to have to be able to produce good matches. Because if you remember correctly, Gunther, he started on the IC title run. You know what I mean? Like, he started making a name of himself to become the next the next heavyweight champion, based on that ability to have great matches. Like, are they going to try to elevate Braun Breaker to the heavyweight title picture? But before you do, you have to be able to prove yourself at being able to kind of quote unquote wrestle. You know what I'm saying? So that, to me, is something that are going to be interesting and to look out for. But I don't like it. I'm good when this match happens. Obviously, we'll watch the pay-per-view, but I'm going to be definitely intrigued to see what unfolds between these two. But
yeah, I feel like off the top of my head, and it's because I remember when I first kind of came back a little bit to wrestling, I saw him, and then when I came fully back, he had been gone. I feel like a good tag team partner, because of the kind of aggression that I saw that could, and I don't even know if he's still wrestling, but it was a Baron Corbin. I think that would be I feel like they would.
I think he got cut,
really
actually.
well.
I think he got fired.
Did he?
Right? I think he did. Yeah, I think he got fired. So,
because I remember there was like, he had this whole little king thing he was doing. Then I saw him on NXT doing some stuff, and then poof, he was gone. So I don't know. I think that's the thing they need to find out,
because they need tag teams. Bad.
Yeah.
Bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it to me, like, they need tag teams in the worst way right now. So anybody could really boost the confidence. I mean, because look, if you look at the tag team, look, don't even get me started. Don't get me started on the War Raiders again, guys. All right, I'm gonna move on. You know what I mean? Before everybody starts yelling at me here. Thank God they weren't on the show, or if they were, I'd fast forward that moment. But all right, we had an IC title contender match, women's IC title contender match, Ivy Nile versus Dakota Kai. Like, the crowd was not really into it until Nile was hitting some of those big moves. Kai ends up winning the match. But to me, I just, like, we have this weird dynamic of the whole, what is it? The American Alphas weird group of people that I just don't care about. And, and to me, the big problem, and we talked about this before, is when you look at the divisions, you look at these matches on paper, you're not really second guessing who's going to win these matches. You almost like when you watch this, you already knew Dakota Kai was going to win the match, right?
Yeah.
And that to me is some of the bigger problems that we're facing with a lot of these matches, which we'll talk about again during the main event a little bit later. But to me, that was one of the bigger issues with this match. It was a sloppy-ish match, which is disappointing because they're coming off two great women matches last week that we both really loved. Even a third one the dark match that we saw. There was two really phenomenal TV matches for the ladies. This one felt sloppy. I think more so sloppy on Niall's behalf. I don't know if she's like a finely tuned wrestler. I haven't seen her wrestle a whole lot. So this might even be the first match I think I even saw her wrestle. So I wasn't a big fan. I am happy with who won though. What about you, Dom?
Yeah, I think I still think I've been saying it since she came back. Dakota still looks hurt to me. I don't know if it's just that the knee brace is annoying, but even when first off, the little confrontation she had before her match felt very awkward. And I think it's because I'm not used to Dakota being by herself speaking. It's normally damage controls with her. But yeah, she was limping in that little promo, and then she came out and she just looks kind of uncomfortable. And I get it. I've worn a knee brace. It does take a while to get used to, and I'm almost positive that's probably what it is. Because I don't think she'd be going as hard as she is with her knee being really messed up. But yeah, I think this is maybe the second time I see Ivy Nile in a full match, and they keep kind of gassing her up a little bit, like when I do the backstage, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm the next champ," and I'm like, "Okay, wrestle somebody. What the hell? Y'all been doing a lot of fucking talking. Wrestle somebody." And yeah, I think she this happens with the women's division and the men's division. Sometimes when you are so jacked, you kind of rely on that muscle to do a lot of the work instead of it being like more fluid. And so I think she just seemed a little stiff because their styles are so different. She's a brute, whereas Dakota is kind of in this kind of in between of like a high flyer and I don't know what you want to compare it to, but yeah, it was a lackluster match, and even you have Valkyria on the ringside, and she's just sitting there, and there's just no kind of energy. It didn't feel like anything. It was just like, what are you should been talking shit or trying? I don't know, and I think it's because they're kind of the newer focus, so there's no beef. There's no kind of animosity towards anybody. So it's just kind of like, I want that belt. And it doesn't help too. The Valkyria, since she's got that belt, hasn't really done much. She's got beat up twice. So it's like, you're probably gonna lose that belt pretty soon. So I don't know, man. They dropped the ball on that one.
Speaking of not dropping the ball, let me say this. Whoever had the idea of Gunther coming out and mocking Jey Uso's entrance deserves like an award, because this was brilliant. Like walking through the crowd and just shitting on these people and
like old school. It felt old school.
Yeah, like he was just. I loved every element of this. Like
it stinks up here.
He was like, he's sick of wrestling people who can't lace his boots. He blamed the fans for yeeting all along and dancing along, thereby giving Jey Uso a false sense of confidence. He said Jey Uso's blood would be on their hands. And then he turned to the announce team and asked Pat McAfee if he thinks Jey Uso could beat him at WrestleMania. And then, of course, as Gunther's getting ready to beat the shit out of McAfee, Jey Uso walked out as officials try to hold him back. This was great. Again, each and every week you will hear me rant and rave about Gunther. This guy is the best in the fucking game right now. This is the best they've got. The only thing, I was talking to somebody about this earlier, the only thing that's going to make me mad is when he loses at WrestleMania, what the hell are they going to do to him? Because they like to relegate them guys back to the mid card, and it's like, man, this guy, are they going to do the same thing they try to do, like basically did with Drew McIntyre? It's almost like he has to go to SmackDown or something to try to do something, because man, this guy deserves the spotlight. If it was anybody else but Jey Uso at WrestleMania, I'd be rooting for Gunther. But Jey Uso winning the title is going to be the biggest fucking pop in the world.
Yeah,
like, I love this entire thing, man. What about you, man?
Yeah, I think if he ends up losing at WrestleMania, you make him, as much as he is like the bad guy now, you make him go full fucking atomic monster and just let him just run and wreak havoc all over. Hell, let him do both shows where he just fucking anybody who's a champion, he's just pissed off and he's beating the hell out of anybody just because he wants a fucking belt back, and he fucking beating up. If Cody loses, he's beating up whoever the winner of that is, or Cody, and he's trying to beat up Jay, and he's beating up tag champions. I'm like, what the hell's going on? He's just like, I don't give a fuck. Everybody can get it. I'm getting the belt back, something like that. No, I thought it was cool because, like, we talked about, the show has started to become a little formulaic. Start off with someone in the ring talking, and then we get a match, and then there's this, and then Jay would come out, and then you get this swap, because you could tell no one was prepared for the swap because the fans were out in the snack area waiting for Jay, and they got fucking Gunther. And yeah, that was great. And I just love this kind of, and I think this is what they've done the best in a while. It's just the fact that you have this big, huge, towering figure in Gunther, and then Jay is a true underdog, and they're playing it up, and it feels like it, and the crowd's behind it feels perfect. And even if he comes, let's say Jay comes like super close, and they get like, he should have had a 3. Someone interferes, and we don't get him, and Gunther wins, and then he's able to be like, "Nah, I beat you, Oos. No, you lost. You just lucky because even if that happens, we still get like this big moment where Gunther's like, fuck, like, he beat me. I have to like prove myself." So you can still go either way and still have like a great outcome.
I don't know, man. If Jay doesn't win, I think it's all for nothing. I feel that way with my whole heart. I think Jey Uso's got to win, or you're just going to put him back in you might as well make him tag team champion again. You know what I mean? Like, they need it. Don't get me wrong, they need it. But speaking of on a roll, Penta, man, every time he's in the ring, always impressive, always putting on a show. Him and Pete Dunne, no surprise at all here. Very, very good match. The crowd is erupting. We saw it live in person. They did a pre-show match with Penta when we were there. Another strong win. Crowd loves him. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. There's not much I can add other than Penta is just performing week in and week. And well, let me finish this too. It's not just Penta, though. I will say everybody he's facing, like, he's had really, really good opponents, allowing him to elevate himself. Pete Dunne's a very good wrestler, so. But Penta is knocking it out of the ballpark right now, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I love Penta, man. The whole aesthetic is cool. The whole everything about him is cool. Like it's dope to see. I would not want to wrestle Dunne, right? We have so many dudes that are huge and they can throw you through a wall and shit. But Pete Dunne, like when he fucking grabs Penta by the arm, takes his glove off, and then just starts cranking that finger, I was like, no, sir, fuck that. You can throw me off a fucking ladder. You're not fucking finna bend my shit backwards and bend my knees and I'm good. Like, I'm too old for that, dog. This shit ain't going back. All these matches are really good, and I assume that are they building them up to like where Gable has been training, and then this is the big face-off? I don't know what they're trying to do with him right now, because he has his haters, but like not necessarily like a rivalry. It's just the fact that fuck, we can't beat this guy. So I don't know what is necessarily going towards, like, story wise, but
Yeah, there at some point in time it's gonna have to come to it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like something's gonna have to happen where I do think that Gable's the final boss. I guess you could say, pun intended there. But at what cost and what does that look like in the future? You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I don't. It's kind of it's a kind of weird. It's a kind of a weird thing, I guess you could say. You know what I mean?
yeah. And right before that too, we saw Liv and Raquel get asked if they are the ones that attacked Jade after we saw that little video, and they're vague about it. They're like, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm and people still think it was Bianca, or not Bianca, but Naomi, because we still don't have proof. We know Liv and Raquel jump people, but they're kind of away and they're just there. Maybe they did, maybe they did. I don't know. So it's this gonna. I think this is gonna come to a head at WrestleMania at some point. Maybe Jade comes back and is like, I know who did it. I know who attacked me. And with all the success that Naomi and Bianca are having, maybe this, crashes the party because maybe it was one of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to end up being Jade Cargill, right? Whenever she comes back, I think she's going to be the one that officially gets revealed as or one of somebody set that whole thing up. One of them, we got a twist coming of some sort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, let's see here. Speaking of them, right? We had the final Elimination Chamber qualifying match for the ladies, right?
Yeah.
Roxana Perez versus Raquel Rodriguez. To me, this was like it's a prototypical big man versus little man match. You know what I'm saying? I can't say I didn't mind it. You know what I mean? I love the way you protect Raquel by not having her lose the match fair. You can't diminish her dominance. You know what I mean? Like she has to show that dominance at all times. So Bianca and Naomi coming out. First off, their outfits, the Bring It On outfits, top notch. To me, only thing that made me mad was I felt like it was a wasted outfit. You know what I mean?
I know.
That's a pay-per-view style outfit. You know what I mean? Like to me, that's a pay-per-view style outfit. But that distraction caused the victory to go to Perez. Solid. Like it was solid. It served its purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Roxanne is I'd only seen one other match with her.
Same.
Besides the Rumble. She's really good. Like I see why she is gaining the buzz she's gotten. I was like, oh man, she is phenomenal. And my wife, she was like, how tall is Raquel? And I was like, I don't know. Now, I don't know which to believe, but she looked it up, and Raquel's either 6'2" or she is 6 foot. Either way, towers over Roxanne, who's like 5'1". So yeah, it looks crazy, and Roxanne kind of looked like Shigo from Kim Possible a little bit in the green and black. But yeah, I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, I did too. And it served its purpose, right?
Yeah.
Can we talk about something now that we're going to talk about? Obviously, it happened because this is the next thing that happened in the card. I don't care about this New Day versus LWO shit. I like the New Day. I like the decision of and I'm thinking maybe this leads to the New Day versus the War Raiders. I think I'm praying because God, somebody please take the belt off the War Raiders. But like maybe that this is what this is leading to. They're gonna go through the LWO next, and then maybe WrestleMania it's the New Day versus the War Raiders. They take the titles off of them, become the heel tag team champions, and carry those, which I think would be phenomenal. You know what I mean? I think it's a great run as heels. They've had them as a New Day, prior. Now we need the New Day tag team champions, I think, in my opinion. I mean, they're booing. That's all that matters, really. But can we stop with the LWO shit? I just don't care.
Yeah, they don't show the LWO enough to like. What I don't even know why this is a beef. I don't know why this keeps happening. I do love though this whole, because I really noticed it last week when we were there, where you have the new school kind of, even though the New Day isn't necessarily new, they've been there a while, but they're like, your beloved legend, Rey Mysterio, who cares? And Logan was doing the same thing with CM Punk. Like, bro, your time is over. It's my time now. So you do have this kind of, which, if WWE happens to take a listen, you have a perfect opportunity at some point to do what Wild 'N Out does, new school versus old school, and you kind of have, people are going to have their own groups, but eventually you have like war games where it's new school versus old school. Everybody who has been here, 8 years and under versus people who are considered legends, and fucking let's see what's popping, because you have a lot of new budding wrestlers that you can start to make stars, and some that are like chomping at the bit. Like I've seen recent promos. Street Profits are back, and they're like, "Hey, we're trying to get them titles from DIY." So you have a lot of things that are a lot of moving pieces, a lot of new faces that you can push, because the new faces are popping. You don't, we're people, as much as you look at other sports and other forms of entertainment where they rely so much on like the nostalgia and stuff. I feel like wrestling is in a place where people want to see new faces. We want to see new and exciting people. And of course, you're going to have your guys who've been there for a while, but I think you can kind of, I don't want to say edge them out. I don't want nobody to be forced out that don't need to go, but like give some of these new guys, some of these new women like a chance to be the new faces, because I think people are kind of hungry for that.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And I do that, and I do see that more so with the women's matches than I do the men's. You know what I mean? The women's, like, we're seeing, like, Liv Morgan's not been around for a super, like, in her spotlight the way that she has a long time. You know what I mean? Like, so to me, what makes me mad but at the same time, you have Charlotte come back and then just kind of overtake that match, that whole entire situation. But I'm a fan of us building these ladies, because as we've talked about, I mean, it's 7th episode we're covering here, and the best parts of every show have basically been the women's matches. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but I'm over this whole New Day promo thing again, and we talked about this earlier. And I said this earlier, and we talk about the frustration of when you go into a match, every once in a while, one of these other people have to win a match.
Yeah.
Because this, again, it got plenty of time. They had the match. There was a moment where there was a 3 count.
Yeah,
and it got screwed up.
Yeah,
the fans let them know about it as well.
Yeah, we even got to suck it out of it.
Yeah, exactly. But this again, I Seth's over like Rover. The match is fine. It was what it was. There was no chance in hell that Balor was going to win this match, right?
No, and that's really unfortunate, because Finn is a good ass wrestler. He's got good ass finishers. Like his moves out of most of the men's locker room, his look the most brutal. His look the most like, oh shit, like that'll fuck you up. Yeah, man, and especially because he has all the makings of a perfect heel champion. He's got the confidence. He comes out and he's like, yeah, I'm 8 packed up, bro. What's up? And he's stomping on you, jumping on you. First off, every time he does that move, I'm like, he is jumping his whole body in the middle of your body. Jesus. Yeah, look, I fuck with Seth. I got a Seth shirt over here. Like, love him. But yeah, it's one of those ones where, like, watching a movie that you've seen a few times, but you just caught something before that you didn't catch, or caught something this time that you didn't catch before, but you know the ending. That's what it felt like. We knew what was going to happen. Like, we knew that, like, Seth is making this run, and yeah, I don't know if and this is all I've been trying to rack my brain. Like when we were younger watching it, was it the same vibe and we just were like kids and didn't really pay attention, or is it more telegraphed now? I don't know.
Yeah, there's certain elements that it. Yeah, I mean, I just felt like there was more unpredictability at some point in time. Like,
Yeah.
Wouldn't it really hurt Finn to win the match?
Right.
Unless Seth's going to win the Elimination Chamber.
I mean, I
which
guess
I don't think he's going to.
I guess you could really look at like how many promos Seth has given over the past couple weeks compared to Finn just being backstage talking with the Judgment Day. That kind of lets you know, like, well, this guy who gives all these promos, clearly he's like in favor of the storyline compared to Finn, who's just always backstage. And again, Judgment Day is slowly cracking. I think that match is the beginning of Finn going off on his own, because as much as because he's the one always going back there like, tighten up, y'all are fucking up, we got to do this, we got to win, and no one comes to help Finn, but everybody else kind of has people come help them, whether it's Carlito with Dom, or Liv with Dom, or Dom with Liv, or Raquel with Liv, or Liv with Raquel. Finn's always by himself. So I think that's a telling sign of like, I could see Finn saying, hey, you can have your new member because I'm out. I foresee the cracks in the wall. And I think unlike Braun, Finn can be by himself. You know what I mean? And he can be the same way that Gunther is. Finn, I feel like, is that same caliber. And they just need to, I think maybe they've been kind of testing the waters maybe with that. But yeah, let him go on his own and wait till Big Dunna comes back, and maybe them two by themselves. But yeah, I think that it's a shame that you have such a good wrestler, a good personality, to like just fall to the bigger name, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just, every qualifying match, it was CM Punk versus who do you face? Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
CM Punk versus Sami Zayn. We already knew it was going to match. We had Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio. We knew who was going to win that match. And now, Rey, and then of course this match.
It's instead of breaking and pushing new names, it's just keep highlighting the popular ones, and it's like popular is gonna stay popular regardless. Like if Logan, let's say because he's a big name, if he lost 4 matches in a row but still came out talking shit, he's still gonna be popular. He's still gonna be like the guy like disliked, and even more so, he'd be like, "Boo, why are you talking shit? Because you've been losing." And it would still fucking work. Some of these you don't have to keep, like Seth Rollins' household name, Roman Reigns' household name, like Cody. You don't have to keep making these guys the focal point, because they're already household names, to where if they leave and then like for 6 months and come back, you get this big pop because, oh shit, they're back. So yeah, I think that's where they're like.
Which I think on the flip side, because if you looked at it on paper, like I kind of thought that Raquel was going to win.
Yeah.
Because it would have given Liv Morgan her opportunity to get the other person in the Rumble. It would have given her, or into the Chamber, would have given her a better chance at winning. I think maybe because in my head I was like, all right, well, something's going to happen where Raquel might cost Liv her chance in the Chamber, something like that. But then, of course, out of nowhere, Roxanne Perez qualifies. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit, this is actually kind of fucking cool.
Yeah. I thought they were just kind of giving Roxanne some main stage time, because even Michael was like, what are you gonna do if Raquel makes it? You're both gonna be in there. And I'm like, oh, okay, oh yeah, that is a good point.
Right.
Like they're gonna have to eventually
either face off or again, hey, she goes to kick somebody, boom, hits Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan gets eliminated. They're staring at each other. Somebody rolls Raquel up, 1, 2, 3. You got that whole division of the Judgment Day that's already happening. But instead, we got a surprise. You know what I mean? Roxanne's the final member. We have our 6 that have qualified for the Elimination Chamber, which is not this weekend, but the following weekend, which means we have one more Raw heading into the Elimination Chamber. Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, and Bayley. So it's trying to navigate who's going to win this is definitely interesting.
Yeah, it's it's a hell of a lineup because
it is, isn't it though? Like this is like I literally was just writing it because I was writing it for the little preview or the little thing I'm going to do posting with this podcast, and I'm like, this one excites me more than the men's does.
Yeah, especially
because any of them could win.
Yep.
And then it's like
you have tag partners,
right? And then you have the whole Jade Cargill thing that's still lingering.
Yeah.
She's on the verge of coming back. So
yeah,
is it going to be revealed that Naomi or Bianca, one of those two, obviously probably Naomi might be the one to do it. Like one of those two probably knock the other one out so they can be tag team champion or whatever. So if she's entering the fold, she's going to probably cost somebody the match, right? So then how does Raquel fit into this, not being in the match, but trying to help Liv more? Like, and then, the Bayley dynamic of trying to get back to WrestleMania. Alexa Bliss coming back herself. So, and then
it's really interesting.
So,
it's gonna be a banger of a match.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking too. You know what I mean? I'm actually really low key excited about it. And on the men's side of things, it's like, oh look, it's the same like final 6 of the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? Like,
and see, look, I know the Seth and CM Punk thing or whatever. If they would have had Finn, you have Finn and Damian who hate each other.
Yeah.
Like that, but that also makes it like, do they team up for a little bit during the match? Like that would have been a little more interesting than, Drew hates everybody. John Cena is just making his last run. Logan's trying to make a name for himself. CM Punk is trying to take out John. I don't know what he's doing. And then Damian Priest is still trying to prove that, like, I belong at the top. But, like, just that added, if Finn was there, it'd be just a little bit like, he has to always look over his shoulder because Finn's back there. And after that last match they had. So I don't know, man.
And if you look at it, Rollins isn't going to win because he's probably facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So that eliminates him. Okay? Damian Priest sure the hell ain't winning. Okay, sorry. What am I doing? Logan Paul's probably not winning because the rumor match between Logan Paul versus John Cena is the worst idea ever. I hope they fix that idea. So then that leaves us these 3. McIntyre's not going to win because they can't let us have nice things. So then that leaves us these 2 guys. So
2 old farts.
Right. You know what I mean? I don't think Cena's going to get his heavyweight title match until probably SummerSlam. If he gets one.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I'm just not as excited about this or as enthused about that one as I am the girls.
I know. I think the announcement of like Cena's last run is kind of like, if he wins a belt, everybody's gonna feel like they gave it to him. And if he doesn't win a belt, they're gonna be like, how the fuck you not let Cena win a belt? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know, man. And to have someone like Logan Paul in there, like, hate him or love him, the dude is a fucking athlete. And he, like, physically can just run circles around all these guys because he's like barely 30, if that. And his body's like, hell, his body's really a damn toddler compared to the rest of the guys who've been doing this shit for so long. So I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, because you still want to be like believable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Damian, I like Damian. Man. He's just too stiff for all those guys in there. Yeah, because I feel like Drew's gonna wear his ass out.
Yeah, it's just so weird. I think just top to bottom, it's such a weird dynamic for all of them. You know what I mean? I genuinely don't know how I feel about any of this, like any of these guys winning. I don't even know if I feel like Drew's the only guy that I would genuinely want to win, and I know he has no chance in hell at winning. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I just love Drew, and I think Drew gets the short end of the stick for absolutely positively no reason at all.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised they don't eventually do some kind of what you could do. Let's say Drew loses. Let's say Gunther loses. You have two guys who are pissed off at the status quo, hate the whole bloodline situation. They hate Roman. And by proxy, Jay, of course. So I wonder if you eventually have them in like this reluctant tag team, kind of like these, because they're both brutes, right? So you get like acolytes type of situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get like two giant dudes who just out there to fucking break you in half because that's what they both want to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't hate that. Something's got to give because some of these guys, like, there's only, there's a point in time where it's like only so many guys can be at the top. We all understand that. You know what I mean? But some of this dynamic, man, I need something, to give here. I need something to swing in our favor. You know what I mean? When it comes down to some of this stuff. So I don't know what it is. I don't know how it is, but something's got to give between now and then. And they're gonna have to give us something, Dom.
Yeah, somebody's got to do something big. Somebody's got to do something loud, and show us that we're wrong. Prove us wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, please prove us wrong. You know what I mean? I would beg for it. But yeah. So another interesting episode. We have, like I said, we have one more episode until the until the Elimination Chamber. So next week should be interesting. There should be a lot of build considering we have everybody already on the card. I would assume that you're going to have everybody part of this upcoming Raw. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would expect to maybe see Cena. I would expect to see CM Punk. Again, it's one last hurrah before the big pay-per-view. So I think you have to have a lot of big people there. But yeah. We appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of the Raw on Netflix podcast. We'll be back next week breaking down the latest episode of Raw. See you guys next week.
Peace.